Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host, with another marvelous video. In the realm of science fiction horror, Ridley Scott's 1979 masterpiece Alien laid the foundation for a genre-defining franchise centered around the quest for the perfect organism so that the blue-collared men could make the perfect bioweapon. Its DNA has since been extracted and replicated in various films that followed, each attempting to capture the essence of Scott's visionary work. These cinematic endeavors skillfully incorporate elements such as oppressive corporate influences, claustrophobic production designs, eerie human extraterrestrial encounters, and the unsettling emergence of alien creatures from within human bodies. From subtle artistry to nonchalant imitation, the movies on this list have shamelessly borrowed from Alien to create something new. In fact, some of these rip-offs have even served as incubators for ideas and talent that would go on to shape future entries in the official Alien franchise. With this in mind, we delve into an exploration of all 59 Xenomorph Alien rip-off movies, highlighting how they borrowed and what they borrowed from the Xenomorph biopics. Let's begin, shall we? Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Alien 2 on Earth, 1980. First things first, Alien 2 is not the sequel to Ridley Scott's Alien. In fact, it's not the sequel to any movie at all. It's just a film written, produced, and directed by Ciro Ippolito, who wanted to bank on the massive success of Ridley Scott's masterpiece. The film revolves around a bunch of aliens who find their way to Earth after hijacking a spaceship that was on a deep space mission. The aliens in the film are these pulsating blue rocks that open up when someone reaches near them. Furthermore, the unwelcome otherworldly guests seem to attack only the face of their victims. It reminds me of something from the Alien franchise that stops being dormant when somebody approaches it, and a creature comes out to attack the victim's face. Any guesses? When the guys at 20th Century Fox heard about Ippolito's stunt, they wanted to sue him for $10 million, but a law firm pointed out that there was a 1930 novel by the same name, and Ippolito's posterior was saved from a certain bankruptcy. I'm not saying it's a good movie, but I still enjoyed it. Forbidden World, 1982. In the distant future on planet Xarbia, a research team creates Subject 20, an experimental life form made of synthetic DNA called Proto-B. Subject 20 mutates rapidly, killing the lab animals and cocooning itself. Military officer Mike Colby and robot Sam 104 investigate. Subject 20 injects victims with Proto-B, eroding their bodies into protein-rich substances for consumption. It evolves into a large insect-like creature but self-destructs when consuming a cancer-ridden liver. Forbidden World was unabashedly labeled a low-budget and exploitative knockoff of the iconic Alien. Critics couldn't help but notice its explicit sexual content, abundant nudity, choppy editing, underwhelming special effects, and a polarizing sound design that left some viewers cringing. However, amidst the mixed bag, Susan Justin's electronic music score managed to garner some positive attention. Notably, Forbidden World is often mentioned alongside Galaxy of Terror, another Alien-inspired creation brought to life by the prolific producer Roger Corman. It turns out that the two films even shared the same imaginative sets, courtesy of the talented James Cameron. Now, brace yourselves for the punchline, literally. During a screening, the ever-passionate Roger Corman couldn't contain his frustration when an audience member had the audacity to laugh at his labor of love. In an impulsive move, Corman unleashed a swift strike to the poor individual's head. But the story doesn't end here. Seeking sweet revenge, the target of Corman's wrath retaliated by pouring a fizzy stream of soda over the producer's unsuspecting head from the balcony. After this, approximately 6 minutes of footage was subsequently excised from the film upon Corman's decree. Deep Space, 1988. Deep Space is another film with a penchant for borrowed concepts. It kicks off when a mutant survivor from a crashed government satellite wreaks havoc. The creator's affinity for wrapping its tentacles around human heads adds a touch of grotesque drama, delivering the promised intergalactic thrills, albeit fleetingly. Surprisingly, director Fred Olen Ray managed to secure a larger budget than usual from the typically low-budget Transworld Entertainment, resulting in a relatively convincing monster. Starting as a sentient slab of rock, it transforms into a repulsive concoction of slimy limbs, razor-sharp fangs, and menacing spikes. A shameless nod to the iconic Xenomorphs. A couple of familiar scenes from the space horror classic are shamelessly replicated, including a certain cat encounter and the unforgettable chestburster moment. Initially contained in a lab, the beast manages to eliminate two scientists before inexplicably escaping into the streets without arousing suspicion, despite its massive size. Remarkably, its killing spree is exclusively focused on those who are either aware of its existence or somehow responsible for its creation. Beyond its eyeless and elongated villain, Deep Space attempts to emulate fit the dynamic buddy cop formula popularized by the recent success of Lethal Weapon. We have the womanizing detective Ian McLemore, portrayed by Charles Napier, and his wisecracking partner Jerry Merris, played by the talented Ron Glass. In one memorable scene, McLemore saves a scientist from being devoured by a baby alien, only to unintentionally throw the gelatinous blob onto the face of his love interest, Cop Carla. In a nod to Ellen Ripley's adventures, the slobbering alien nonchalantly sidles up next to McLemore, briefly unaware of its surroundings. An amusing moment indeed. And let's not forget the peculiar seduction scene in which McLemore, in an attempt to win over Carla, dons a kilt and showcases his bagpipe skills, claiming it's the only way to make her stop his playing. Astonishingly, it works. Life Force, 1985. In the depths of space, aboard the space shuttle Churchill, a crew led by Colonel Tom Carlson embarks on a mind-boggling adventure. They stumble upon a colossal spaceship concealed within Halley's Comet. Inside the celestial object, they encounter bat-like creatures and 3 mysterious suspended humanoids. The return journey takes a treacherous turn when Mission Control loses contact with Churchill, and a fire leaves the vessel gutted, with its crew perished and the escape pod missing. Yet, remarkably, the containers safeguarding the suspended bodies remain intact. The bodies are transported to the European Space Research Centre in London for examination. The female alien awakens, unleashing a terrifying power to drain their life force. Escaping the facility, she embarks on a relentless hunt for human prey. Meanwhile, the 2 male vampires also awaken, sparking a violent escape attempt thwarted by well-timed grenades hurled by the guards. Meanwhile, the previously deceased guard reawakens, demonstrating the same life-draining abilities. Cue the chills and suspense. In a parallel tale unfolding in the Texan landscape, an escape pod from Churchill surfaces, revealing the presence of Colonel Carlson himself. What mysteries lie within his journey? So, we've had vampires from ancient times, we've had vampires from all corners of the world. Just when it seemed that there could be no newer varieties of vampires, Tobe Hooper directed Life Force based on a novel by English author Colin Wilson called The Space Vampires. The film was brilliantly crafted, but came with a few flaws in terms of camera work and screenplay. The film boasts a sadist seductress and comes with nudity, violence, and amazing effects from the frame of reference of other 80s space films. The bottom line is, it feels like a movie that's amazing in parts and doesn't perform similarly as a whole. And yet, I'm sure that genre fans will appreciate it for what it is. Leviathan, 1989. Leviathan, set in the watery abyss, is a thrilling aquatic adventure that channels the spirit of Alien beneath the waves. While it may not reach the sophisticated heights or bone-chilling terror of Ridley Scott's masterpiece, this oceanic adventure still manages to make a splash. The film is set off the coast of Florida, where a courageous crew of 6 men and 2 women are nearing the end of a 90-day mission, submerged a jaw-dropping 10,000 feet below the ocean's surface. Their home base is the formidable Shack 7, a colossal octagon crafted from spun-molded steel. Clad in clunky motorized suits, these intrepid souls are tasked with mining precious metals from the ocean floor for the profit-hungry Transoceanic Corporation. Leading the charge is a geologist played by the ever-reliable Peter Weller. As the crew battles the understandable perils of cabin fever, they stumble upon a colossal Soviet shipwreck. Six-Pack, the crew's least serious and most stir-crazy member, portrayed by Daniel Stern, fuels his rebellious spirit and uncovers a hidden flask of vodka aboard the ship, which he happily shares with one of the women. Little do they know that a few swigs of this drink will unleash a horrifying turn of events. Penned by the talented duo of David Peoples and Jeb Stewart, from a gripping story by Peoples, Leviathan dives headfirst into the murky waters of genetic engineering cautionary tales. With creature effects maestro Stan Winston at the helm, you can expect the usual dose of gelatinous monstrosities that mutate before your very eyes. However, the film remains a knockoff of Alien and plays with similar themes of claustrophobia and paranoia. Life. An unmanned probe brings back tantalizing soil samples from the Red Planet, sparking hopes of discovering life beyond our own pale blue dot. But this interstellar joyride takes a sinister twist when exobiologist Hugh Derry accidentally awakens a dormant cell that unleashes a deadly creature named Calvin. Now, Calvin is no ordinary extraterrestrial critter. This slimy menace boasts cells that can multitask like nobody's business. We're talking photosensory cells, muscles, and neurons all rolled into one freaky package. It's like the ultimate cellular power trio. And of course, Calvin isn't exactly the friendly type. It goes on a rampage, sinking its metaphorical teeth into the poor, unsuspecting crew. With communication lines to Earth cut off and Calvin growing bigger and badder by the minute, our intrepid team finds themselves in a cosmic fight for survival. Sacrifices must be made, tensions run high, and the fate of humanity hangs in the balance. Director Daniel Espinosa's film may have a touch of déjà vu, reminding us of classics like Alien and Gravity, but then again, even familiar beats can still hit the right notes. Espinosa's life may not delve into profound existential musings, but it knows how to deliver heart-pounding action sequences sequences. While life may not quite reach the gritty horror and twisted delight of Alien, it's got its own brand of high-flying excitement. The pace zips along, dragging you deeper into the thrilling unknown, and the action sequences will leave you wanting for more. Galaxy of Terror, 1981. In a mysterious spacefaring civilization, Planet Master assigns Commander Ilvar to lead a daring rescue mission aboard the Quest spaceship. Piloted by psychologically scarred Captain Trantor, the Quest hurtles toward Morganthus, only to endure a near-fatal landing. As the team explores a derelict vessel, they uncover a scene of carnage, save for one body taken for analysis. Their presence awakens grotesque creatures, resulting in the demise of crew member Kaz. Back on the Quest, a formidable force emanates from a colossal pyramid, thwarting their escape. Splitting into search parties, Commander Ilvar's ill-fated descent leads to a blood-draining encounter, while the others navigate treacherous terrain. A silent crew member, Quad, falls victim to a malevolent crystal star, forcing a gruesome self-amputation. Tragedy befalls the crew as they confront nightmarish horrors. Galaxy of Terror, often seen as one of the Alien rip-offs from the early 80s, has a direct link with the Alien franchise, as both involved James Cameron, and in this movie, he served as the production designer and second unit director. While Galaxy of Terror shares similarities with Alien, it brings its own flavor to the table. The film delves into themes of fear, survival, the unknown, and unsettling creatures in the old style of director Roger Corman, the B-movie king.
Don't go inside!
The Deadly Spawn, 1983. In this creature feature, two campers stumble upon a fallen meteor and become the unfortunate victims of a bizarre life form that emerges from the extraterrestrial rock. Meanwhile, nearby, a family consisting of Sam, Barb, and their two children, Pete and Charles, are preparing to leave town. However, tragedy strikes as Sam and Barb are devoured by the monster. Pete, a budding scientist, arranges a study session with classmates Ellen, Frankie, and Kathy. Uncle Herb, a psychologist, takes an interest in Charles's macabre inclinations and conducts a brief interview before the boy drifts off to sleep. Aunt Millie heads to her mother's house for a luncheon with friends. As events unfold, Charles discovers the basement infested with slug-like creatures feasting on the remains of victims, including his parents. Realizing the creatures are sensitive to sound, Charles remains silent, managing to escape his parents' tragic fate. Meanwhile, Ellen and Frankie dissect one of the tadpole-like creatures and realize its otherworldly nature. Written and directed by Douglas McCown, the film was renamed in some places as Return of the Aliens, The Deadly Spawn, or The Return of the Aliens, Deadly Spawn. Well, as you rightly guessed, they wanted to bank on the success of Alien because James Cameron's Aliens was still 3 years away, and a sequel to Ridley Scott's film was much awaited. Apart from this, the film does borrow a few other tropes from the Alien universe, but to no great avail. Pitch Black, 2000. Alien was a groundbreaking film, and it left an indelible mark on the sci-fi genre, but its unique qualities sometimes get overshadowed. One of its significant contributions was its set design, which diverged from the prevailing aesthetic of the time. The Nostromo's dimly lit and Giger-inspired interiors were a result of Ridley Scott's resourceful use of ambient lighting, driven by time and budget constraints. Within the ill-fated spacecraft, darkness becomes the ally of evil. In the 2000 film Pitch Black, darkness takes center stage. This sci-fi horror film introduced Van Diesel's memorable character, Richard B. Riddick, a violent criminal with exceptional night vision. Stranded on a desolate planet engulfed in darkness due to a solar eclipse and infested with vampiric aliens, Riddick is given a chance at freedom in exchange for helping the survivors escape. While drawing inspiration from Alien, Pitch Black demonstrates how artistic imitation can give birth to something fresh. Director David Toohey recognized the franchise's potential during early screenings as audiences began whispering about the Riddick character. Diesel's portrayal of the goggle-wearing, morally complex anti-hero garnered a cult following, leading to 2 sequels, Chronicles of Riddick in 2004 and Riddick in 2013. Deep Rising, 1998. In Deep Rising, directed by Stephen Sommers, Captain Finnegan and a group of mercenaries board the luxury cruise ship Argo Nautica to carry out a heist on the vault and wealthy passengers. However, upon arrival, they discover the ship's passengers brutally killed, with only a few survivors remaining. A colossal sea monster with spiked tentacles emerges, attacking anyone in its path. Finnegan forms an alliance with a prisoner named Trillian, and they spot an island as their only hope of escape from the creature's clutches. The film combines elements of horror and science fiction, skillfully blending CGI effects to bring the monstrous sea creatures to life. Deep Rising maintains a gripping bloodbath without veering into excessive gore, while injecting humor into the story, particularly through Kevin J. O'Connor's character. I guess Deep Rising is more like an alien with a water monster and enough comic relief. An intriguing revelation occurs in the final scene as the distant island is revealed to be Skull Island from the King Kong universe, hinting at a potential connection to future projects that were never realized. Deep Star 6, 1989. Deep Star 6, directed by Sean S. Cunningham, takes us on an underwater journey with the crew of an American naval facility. Their mission to explore underwater colonization and nuclear silo installation takes a dark turn when they stumble upon a seafloor cavern. The ill-fated decision to destroy the cavern with depth charges leads to catastrophic consequences as the weakened seafloor collapses. In their subsequent investigation, the crew encounters a massive unidentified object on sonar, triggering a series of deadly events. Awakened from its ancient slumber in the ocean depths, a monstrous beast emerges to wreak havoc on the crew of Deep Star 6. Starting with an attack on the Sea-Cat vehicle, the creature proceeds to ruthlessly slaughter each crew member. The Diplodon, as it's named, becomes a testament to the perils of man's curiosity, turning their own actions against them. Even attempts to fend it off with carbon dioxide-filled shark darts prove futile, leading the crew to realize that fleeing was their only chance. The ensuing battle between the crew and the merciless monster unleashes creatively gruesome deaths, reminiscent of Alien's iconic moments. For instance, one unfortunate soul's chest is literally burst open. And of course, another Alien reference would be the attempt to colonize a previously uninhabited place, which in this case was the underwater bed. As the beast attacks the base, the crew is brutally dispatched, lacking the finesse of their Xenomorph counterparts. From explosive escapes to literal chest bursting, Deep Star 6 showcases the horror of its encounters. While the film falls short in terms of special effects, director Sean S. Cunningham, known for Friday the 13th, delivers a sci-fi horror experience that fulfills its purpose. Outland, 1981. In Outland, written and directed by Peter Hyams, Federal Marshal William O'Neill finds himself stationed at the challenging titanium ore mining outpost Conam 27 on the inhospitable Jovian moon of Io. With its low gravity, lack of breathable atmosphere, and cumbersome spacesuits, life on Io is a relentless struggle. O'Neill's wife and son abandon the desolate moon, leaving him to face the harsh realities of the outpost. Trouble begins when miners start succumbing to stimulant psychosis, resulting in deadly decompressions. O'Neill, joined reluctantly by Dr. Lazarus, investigates the deaths, leading them to uncover a drug distribution ring operated by the corrupt general manager, Mark Shepard. As O'Neill delves deeper into the conspiracy, he uncovers the insidious use of polydichloric euthymal, a potent drug enabling prolonged work shifts but driving miners to madness. With surveillance cameras as his allies, O'Neill captures one of Shepard's dealers, but the man is murdered before revealing crucial information. As the tension escalates, O'Neill's own sergeant, Montoni, meets a grim fate, while another dealer, Russell Yario, confronts O'Neill in a chilling encounter within a meat locker. Determined to expose the truth, O'Neill destroys the drug shipment, infuriating Shepard, who calls in professional hitmen to eliminate the marshal. Now, unlike most movies appearing on this list, Outland is different in one major regard. In Outland, the only enemy is still man. And that's more or less true for the Alien franchise as well. Despite the Xenomorphs being the primary villains, Weyland-Yutani Corporation is the overarching villain. All in all, Outland could be compared to the first two Alien movies, albeit without the aliens. The Abyss, 1989. In the thrilling underwater sci-fi film, a catastrophic event unfolds when the U.S. submarine USS Montana encounters an unidentified submerged object and sinks near the Cayman Trough. With tensions rising due to approaching Soviet ships and a powerful hurricane, the U.S. government dispatches a courageous SEAL team to the experimental underwater drilling platform Deep Core as a strategic base. Dr. Lindsay Brigman, the platform's designer, insists on joining the team despite her strained relationship with her husband, Bud Brigman, who serves as the foreman. During their investigation of the sunken submarine, the team experiences a power outage, leading Lindsay to witness a mysterious circling light that she later dubs the non-terrestrial intelligence. Lieutenant Hiram Coffey, the SEAL team leader, defies orders and ventures out in a mini-sub to retrieve a Trident missile warhead from the Montana, just as a violent storm engulfs the area. Trapped beneath the waves, Deep Core sustains significant damage as the storm wreaks havoc, leaving the crew stranded and unable to establish communication with the surface. As they endure freezing conditions, the crew discovers that the NTIs, in a mesmerizing display, have manifested a column of animated water to explore the rig, an otherworldly version of a remotely operated vehicle. Also directed by James Cameron, the film was bound to have themes from Aliens, but apart from the sense of claustrophobia and an unknown monster killing people intelligently and skillfully, The Abyss is an original in its own right. Sputnik 2020. In this Cold War-era film set in 1983, the tension reaches new heights when two Russian cosmonauts on an orbital research mission make a startling discovery. During their return to Earth, they encounter a mysterious presence outside their spacecraft. Tragically, the mission takes a disastrous turn as their ship malfunctions and crashes in Kazakhstan, leaving only one survivor, Konstantin. Konstantin is promptly transported to a remote military facility where Dr. Tatyana Klimova, a psychiatrist, is summoned. Unbeknownst to her, Konstantin unknowingly carries an extraterrestrial extraterrestrial life form within his own body. This symbiotic relationship between the cosmonaut and the creature becomes evident as Constantine miraculously recovers from his injuries sustained in the crash, while the creature thrives within his esophagus, deriving sustenance from his nutrients. Colonel Semiradov, the commanding officer overseeing the facility, entrusts Tatiana with the task of unraveling the connection between Constantine and the alien entity. As she delves deeper into the mystery, Tatiana stumbles upon a shocking revelation. The creature, fueled by human hormones released during moments of fear, requires live humans as its source of sustenance. With their lives hanging in the balance, Tatiana must make a pivotal decision that could alter the fate of both Constantine and humanity. The film sounds a bit like Alien, but with a twist. The twist being that the film's alien doesn't feed off the internal organs, but emotions and feelings. Furthermore, Oksana Akinshina as Tatiana Yurievna Klimova effectively reminds of Ellen Ripley. The Terror Within, 1989. In a desolate post-apocalyptic landscape, humanity finds itself locked in a fierce battle for survival against a grotesque horde known as the Gargoyles. Michael and John, intrepid survivors from the Mojave lab, venture into the ravaged world to assess the aftermath of a devastating chemical or biological attack. Over the radio, Sue and David anxiously listen as the duo falls prey to a relentless gargoyle assault during their investigation. Driven by a mission to locate their fallen friends, Sue and David emerge from the safety of their bunker only to discover the lifeless bodies of John and Michael. Amidst the grim scene, they stumble upon a wounded girl named Karen, whom they bring back to their sanctuary. However, the horror escalates when Karen, under anesthesia, unexpectedly gives birth to a gargoyle offspring within the confines of the bunker. To make things worse, the creature breaks free, claiming the lives of Andre and Neil in its wake. Wounded and desperate, David becomes a target, while Sue finds herself abducted by the gargoyle, whose twisted intentions involve breeding with her. These monstrous beings possess a rapid reproduction rate, achieved through the brutal violation of human women. Their strength is formidable, and they display an uncanny ability to heal from injuries, except for certain vulnerabilities such as high-pitched frequencies, symbolized by a dog whistle. Much like the Alien films have a lot of sexual imagery from the bottom of a facehugger to a xenomorph's elongated head, The Terror Within also boasts several such tropes, but it goes a step ahead and becomes way more explicit. Of course, there's the whole impregnation thing that doesn't know a thing about being toned down. Say what you will, the film worked well enough at the box office, which led to a sequel. Metamorphosis, The Alien Factor, 1990. With an ingenious use of its modest budget, this gripping sci-fi horror gem delves into the dark consequences of genetic experimentation led by the enigmatic Dr. Foster, head of the ominous Talos Corporation. The unsettling tale unfolds when Foster is bitten by an otherworldly spore, triggering a nightmarish transformation that drives him to hunt down anyone who crosses his path within the confines of the facility. Caught in the deadly web of Foster's grotesque evolution are the daughter of his initial victim and a cold-blooded hitman, enlisted by the shady Talos director, Dr. Violini, to eliminate any witnesses privy to the perilous project and its grisly aftermath. As the body count rises, the survivors find themselves in a desperate battle against the ever-changing monstrosity that Foster has become. But once it reaches unstoppable heights, all hope may be lost. Fueled by a well-crafted screenplay and boasting remarkable and repulsive creature effects, this ambitious endeavor began as a long-awaited sequel to the beloved low-budget cult classic, The Deadly Spawn. The film almost delivers on its promises, delivering a near spine-tingling experience that may or may not keep you on the edge of your seats. Having said that, the transformation of a man into a nightmarish beast is not half bad. Split Second, 1992. Set in a dystopian London of the year 2008, this atmospheric thriller explores a city ravaged by floods caused by global warming. We meet rookie police officer Dick Durkin, assigned to team up with the jaded and world-weary Harley Stone, a detective haunted by past failures. Together, they're tasked with solving a series of gruesome murders that bear a disturbing resemblance to a case from Stone's past. As the bodies pile up, Stone becomes consumed by the investigation, while Durkin, an Oxford-educated psychologist, is ordered to closely monitor his partner's mental state. The murders seem to be tied to the lunar cycle, and the killer has a chilling penchant for devouring the organs of the victims. Clues emerge as lab analysis reveals the presence of multiple recombinant DNA strands in the killer's blood, suggesting a horrifying absorption of its victim's genetic material. As the bond between Stone and Durkin strengthens, they begin to decipher the killer's twisted motives and modus operandi. Their pursuit takes them to the realization that the killer is no ordinary human, but a monstrous, possibly demonic creature, swift, savage, and insatiably bloodthirsty. Despite being a monster thriller, the film fails to live up to the genre. Having said that, it's one of those films that are good in parts, but fail as a whole. And yes, this Russian twist to an Alien film was nothing less than a breath of fresh air as far as recent monster movies are concerned. Contamination, alien on Earth, aka Toxic Spawn, 1980. A mysterious ship mysteriously drifted into New York Harbor, and a few curious folks became curious about its contents. Inside, they discover large containers of coffee concealing football-sized green eggs. When disturbed, the eggs unleashed a deadly force, spewing a toxic liquid that caused immediate and explosive destruction to any living being it touched. Colonel Stella Holmes is made in charge of unraveling the mystery behind these lethal eggs. Drawing a connection to an ill-fated Mars mission, she enlists the help of Commander Hubbard, a troubled astronaut who experienced a traumatic breakdown following his extraterrestrial encounter. Reluctantly, Hubbard joins forces with Holmes and the sarcastic New York cop Tony Harris to investigate, which leads the trio to a Colombian coffee plantation. Soon, they also discover that Hubbard's former astronaut colleague is alive and under the influence of a monstrous alien Cyclops capable of controlling minds. This unearthly creature seeks to unleash the green eggs upon humanity with the aim of eradicating human life from Earth. Inspired by the success of his previous sci-fi venture, Star Crash, director Luigi Cozzi wanted to make another sci-fi movie. Intrigued by Ridley Scott's iconic film Alien, Cozzi's producer envisioned a similar project under Cozzi's direction. However, faced with budgetary limitations, Cozzi made the creative decision to ground the story on our own planet, while preserving key elements like alien eggs and a monstrous creature reminiscent of Scott's classic. The result was a script aptly titled Alien Arrives on Earth. The ovomorph reference and creatures coming out of such things is too easy an alien reference to miss. The Dark Lurking, 2009. In the depths of Research Station 320, a top-secret underground facility, a catastrophic event unfolds, plunging its occupants into a living nightmare. Cut off from the outside world, the facility becomes a battleground as ancient flesh-eating creatures run amok, their mutations accelerating at an alarming rate. 8 survivors emerge from the chaos, which includes 2 research subjects, 3 hardened mercenaries, 2 skilled technicians, and a resourceful medic. With communication severed and escape routes destroyed, they find themselves confined to a remote area of the facility, their chances of survival diminishing by the minute. Hunger gnaws at them, defenses are scarce, and rescue seems like a distant dream. The only glimmer of hope lies in a treacherous journey through 13 harrowing levels, perilous ascent to the surface. But lurking among them is a traitor, a shape-shifting embodiment of darkness itself, ready to strike when least expected. As tensions rise and trust wanes, the survivors must confront not only the relentless horrors that surround them, but also the chilling realization that one of their own is no longer human. I don't really know what to say about this one. Watching it was more painful than having a chestburster do what it does best. While it's a blend of John Carpenter's The Thing and all the Alien movies that came before 2009, it's much, much, much worse than all of them. Trust me, this one deserves a place on no list apart from this one. Extro, 1982. In this unusual sci-fi horror film, Sam Phillips experiences a mysterious abduction by an alien light while playing with his son, Tony. 3 years later, the alien resurfaces in a grotesque and vaguely humanoid form, wreaking havoc by killing townsfolk and assaulting a woman in her own home. The encounter results in a disturbing and bizarre pregnancy, as the woman develops an abnormally large baby bump and gives birth to a fully grown Sam. Despite Sam's return, his wife has moved on with another man, yet still harbors lingering feelings for him. Meanwhile, Tony's unwavering love for his father remains unchanged. The alien light that initially abducted Sam is revealed to have implanted a seed, which gives birth to the strange humanoid alien. The depiction of the alien's impregnation is unsettling, as it forcibly engages in non-consensual acts with the woman, resulting in her tragic demise during childbirth. While the film as a whole may not be considered outstanding, it does offer notable elements such as a resilient bond between father and son, provocative imagery including nudity, and commendable special effects portraying the alien creature. Event Horizon, 1997. Directed by Paul Anderson, Event Horizon takes viewers on a dark and disturbing journey into the depths of madness and the unknown. The story revolves around the starship Event Horizon, which mysteriously reappears after 7 years of being lost in space. A rescue mission, led by Dr. William Weir, is sent to investigate the vessel, only to encounter unimaginable horrors. It's soon revealed that Event Horizon possesses the ability to manipulate space-time, but with devastating consequences. As the crew boards the ship, the experimental gravity drive is activated, resulting in the destruction of their own vessel. From this point onward, the crew members are plagued by terrifying hallucinations, reflecting their deepest fears and regrets. Unsettling video logs uncover the horrifying fate of the previous crew, who succumbed to self-harm and mutilation after activating the gravity drive. Dr. Weir discloses the chilling truth that the ship has become sentient, under the influence of an evil force from a nightmarish dimension beyond our own universe. The remaining remaining crew members must confront their worst nightmares and find a way to survive the malevolent forces within Event Horizon. The movie explores themes of paranoia, claustrophobia, and sacrifice, all reminiscent of a particular franchise we all know about. Having said that, Paul Anderson skillfully builds suspense, offering striking visuals and grotesquely disturbing imagery that lingers in the mind long after the film concludes. Notably, Sam Neill delivers a compelling performance that adds another layer of intrigue to this unforgettable cinematic experience. The Cloverfield Paradox, 2018. In the year 2028, the Cloverfield Station, an orbiting space facility, becomes the stage for the Shepard Particle Accelerator. If successful, it could provide infinite energy for the planet and save humanity from imminent doom. However, conspiracy theorists fear the activation of the accelerator may unleash the dreaded Cloverfield Paradox, opening portals to parallel universes and inviting unimaginable horrors to threaten Earth. The diverse crew aboard the station strive to activate the Shepard, but their efforts encounter repeated failures over the course of 2 years. Finally, they achieve what seems to be a stable beam, but it triggers a power surge that causes the station to lose sight of Earth. To make matters worse, the navigation gyroscope goes missing. As the crew endeavors to restore power and repair the station, they experience a series of inexplicable and unsettling events. One of the crew members' arm becomes trapped in a solid wall and is severed without pain or bleeding, only to take on a life of its own. It communicates a message to the crew. Eventually locating Earth, the crew realizes that the particle beam overload has triggered the Cloverfield Paradox, propelling them into a parallel universe. I don't really understand what genre the movie should be placed in, as it ambitiously aimed to encompass several genres and serve as both a standalone sci-fi space horror and a pivotal piece in the Cloverfield universe. However, the film struggles to satisfy either objective fully, leaving viewers with an intriguing yet ultimately conflicted experience. It embraces its own paradoxical nature, offering entertainment and frustration in equal measure.
Someone's playing with...
Crawl Space, 2012. In this military thriller, a team of elite commandos is dispatched to rescue a scientific team from a top-secret military base. Their orders are to eliminate any prisoners on site. However, team leader Romeo is shocked to discover that one of the prisoners, Eve, bears a striking resemblance to his deceased wife. Despite objections from the others, Romeo insists on protecting her, believing she suffers from amnesia. As they navigate the treacherous base, encountering a mutant gorilla and facing rising tensions, the true nature of the experiments conducted at the facility becomes apparent. Lead scientist Caesar reveals Eve's status as a dangerous weapon, while Matthews discloses the disturbing brain experiments performed on the prisoners. With alliances shifting and trust shattered, the team must confront their own doubts and survive the chaos. But to make things worse, someone's brain has been replaced with that of an alien. While it aimed to be a pretty cerebral affair, Crawl Space ended up being a pretty forgettable one. It does bear a similarity with Aliens in the sense that it includes a team of armed personnel trying to wipe out rogue elements. But that's it. There's little else to the film. However, I can't deny that it's a fun one-time watch if you're doing that with a few chilled ones. Species, 1995. In Species, the SETI program takes an unexpected turn when Earth scientists receive transmissions from an alien source, offering the secret to infinite fuel. Excited by the prospect of friendly extraterrestrial contact, the scientists proceed with a genetic experiment, blending alien DNA with human DNA. The result is Syl, a seemingly normal girl who rapidly matures into a formidable adult with extraordinary abilities. As Syl's violent tendencies emerge, the scientists realize she poses a significant threat. Their failed attempt to eliminate her leads to a high-stakes pursuit. A team comprising anthropologist Dr. Stephen Arden, a molecular biologist Dr. Laura Baker, empath Dan Smithson, and mercenary Preston Lennox is assembled to track and terminate Syl. With each passing moment, Syl becomes stronger, smarter, and more determined to mate with human males and produce offspring that could spell doom for humanity. Her relentless pursuit of this goal leaves a trail of victims in her wake, making it increasingly challenging for the team to capture her. H.R. Giger, known for his iconic works on the Alien franchise, played a significant role in the creation of Syl's extraterrestrial design. Practical models were crafted to bring Giger's imaginative vision to life. Giger, while involved in the project, expressed dissatisfaction with certain elements that he felt resembled aspects seen in other films, particularly the Alien franchise. He conveyed his concerns to producer Frank Mancuso, citing several similarities that caught his attention, especially the presence of a chestburster scene in Species during the birth of Syl, with the infant alien bursting from its host's chest. Shocking Dark, 1989. Shocking Dark, also known as Terminator 2, is an Italian sci-fi knockoff that cleverly sets its action on Earth instead of in outer space, effectively reducing special effects costs. Directed by Bruno Mattei, the film begins with stock footage showcasing the vibrant streets of Venice in happier times, before the year 2000. However, due to severe water pollution, the city has been abandoned, with only scientists from the Tubular Corporation remaining underground. A group of Tubular Corp employees sends a distress call from within the city, revealing a horrifying, unseen threat. Megaforce, a no-nonsense but completely nonsense military unit led by the tough and assertive Costa, embarks on a mission to rescue any survivors and escort them back. Accompanying them are scientist Dr. Sarah Drumbull and the enigmatic Samuel Fuller, a representative of the Tubular Corporation. As the narrative unfolds, parallels to aliens become evident. Venice becomes LV-426, and the Megaforce troopers mirror the colonial Marines, with Costa embodying the resilient Vasquez. Dr. Sarah assumes the role of this film's Ellen Ripley, complete with a physical resemblance to Sigourney Weaver, while Fuller represents the corporate antagonist reminiscent of Burke from Aliens, portrayed by Paul Reiser. The similarities continue as Megaforce navigates the dark, steam-filled corridors, ultimately encountering a lone survivor named Samantha. Drawing inspiration from Aliens' Newt, Samantha triggers Sarah's protective instincts, leading to a swift bond. Played by Dominica Coulson, Samantha's presence involves a classic Italian horror trope of an irritating child character, generating mixed emotions among viewers. Needless to say, Shocking Dark faced legal obstacles preventing its theatrical or home video release in the United States. Prometheus, 1995. In this not-so-gripping action horror film, a group of drug smugglers led by Alex find themselves in dire straits after their yacht explodes, forcing them to seek refuge on a seemingly abandoned oil rig. Little do they know, this rig was once a laboratory for genetic experiments, but it's now been conveniently left abandoned, and no one cares about it. Soon, the unsuspecting individuals realize they're being hunted by a slimy creature that defies imagination, but not if you've watched The Thing or any of the Alien movies. Unveiled as Charlie. This villain is the result of shape-shifting, heroin-addicted genetic manipulation involving shark DNA. Yep, with each passing moment, the tension rises as the monster takes its toll on the survivors, leaving viewers on the edge of their seats so that they can get up and leave. As the group fights for their lives against the monstrous Charlie, the oil rig becomes an atmospheric backdrop for a battle of wits and survival. Parasite, 1982. Set in a dystopian future ravaged by atomic disasters, the film portrays a world dominated by the Merchants, a controlling organization exploiting the impoverished remnants of society. Driven by the need for control, the Merchants coerced Dr. Paul Dean into creating a parasitic life form that preys on its host. Recognizing the grave danger it poses, Dean escapes, infecting himself with the parasite in the process. On the run and pursued by the relentless merchant enforcer Wolf, Dean embarks on a journey across towns, studying the parasite in an attempt to find a way to eradicate it. Along the way, he crosses paths with a gang of hooligans led by Rickus, a former slave of the Merchants. Unaware of the canister's contents, the gang unwittingly releases the parasite, which infects one of their own. Patricia Wells, a charming lemon grower, joins forces with Dean, pledging to aid in destroying the escaped parasite. As tensions rise and the threat intensifies, Rickus seeks Dean's assistance in saving his friend, only to confront the relentless pursuit of Wolf. With Patricia, Dean and Rickus evading their pursuer, they return to find the parasite having multiplied and transformed into a monstrous worm with deadly teeth. While boasting a fair share of gruesome moments, this film leans more toward gore than genuine fright, leaving viewers with a sensation that's less chilling and more grotesque. Among the sparse standout moments is a scene reminiscent of Alien, where the creature bursts forth from the body of a hapless victim, delivering a potent shock. However, overall, this poorly acted B-movie lacks the finesse to truly captivate its audience, lacking the necessary flair to immerse viewers in its narrative. Night Beast, 1982. In Night Beast, a small alien spacecraft finds itself on a collision course with Earth, ultimately crashing in the peaceful town of Perry Hall after being struck by an asteroid. The unexpected arrival sets off a series of terrifying events as the pilot emerges from the wreckage armed with a deadly disintegrator ray. The creature wastes no time in unleashing its destructive power, targeting unsuspecting victims, including hunters, a couple in their home, and a family out for a drive. As panic ensues, the county sheriff Cinder takes charge, rallying men and some brave residents, led by Jamie, to confront the otherworldly menace. However, their initial attempts prove futile as the creature reveals its invulnerability to bullets, claiming the lives of many in its wake. Undeterred, Cinder and his allies seek assistance from an expert marksman, whose precision shooting disarms the fearsome beast. Nevertheless, the victory comes at a cost, as the marksman's son and another officer tragically fall in the intense shootout. But the alien isn't dead. Don Dola was renowned back in the day for making low-budget sci-fi horror films, and that's precisely what he's done with Night Beast, which is actually a sequel to his 1978 film, The Alien Factor. While the prequel was almost original, this one here takes heavy inspiration from Ridley's 1979 movie, Mutant on the Bounty, 1989. In this sci-fi adventure, the crew of the spaceship Bounty embarks on a research mission, accompanied by the android Lazardo and the reporter Justine. Their journey takes an unexpected turn when they intercept a stray transporter beam carrying a living being. Much to their surprise, the being is none other than jazz musician Max Gordon, whose appearance has been altered during the transportation process. Though Max inadvertently causes the ship's captain to suffer a fatal heart attack, he proves to be far from malevolent. Instead, Max quickly forms bonds with the remaining crew members after his vocal cords are repaired. Despite being 23 years overdue for a gig, he befriends the crew and even develops a romantic connection with Justine. However, their newfound camaraderie is disrupted when a duo of convenience store robbers, Rek and Manny, tracks Max down in search of a valuable canister that ended up in his possession. I honestly don't think I need to draw enough similarities between this one and the first two Alien movies. I mean, there's an android, there's someone who's been floating aimlessly in space for decades, and it's all happening in space. However, the movie will make your soul scream in pain, and you will hear it. The Rift, 1990. In this underwater adventure, the experimental submarine Siren 2 embarks on a mission to uncover the fate of its predecessor, the missing Siren 1. The blame for the unfortunate incident is placed on the Contech Corporation, accused of tampering with the original design of the submarine. Leading the experienced NATO crew aboard the Siren 2 is Captain Randolph Phillips, a seasoned officer with a proven track record. As they delve deeper into their investigation, the Siren 2's crew traces the signal from the Siren 1's black box to an underwater rift. To their surprise, they find themselves surrounded by a seemingly impossible toxic weed, contradicting the scientific understanding of plant life at such depths. Employing quick thinking, the crew manages to escape the perilous weed by utilizing the innovative tactic of reversing the polarity of the hull, although a small amount of the weed manages to infiltrate the submarine. Strangely, they find themselves in a hidden cave system, uncovering Contech's involvement in illicit genetic engineering experiments. As the crew of the Siren 2 unravels the truth behind the missing Siren 1, they must confront the terrifying consequences of tampering with nature's delicate balance in the uncharted depths of the ocean. The film features a variety of mutant creatures that were the result of illegal genetic experiments. Escaping these creatures is the major theme of writer and director Juan Piquer Simon's film. The Rift was among the similar movies produced during the time that were based underwater and dealt with monsters. Having said that, Hunt for Red October was also one of these films, and it was nothing less than a gem. Sinjinore, 1990. Two couples find themselves in a tall office building owned by Norton Cyberdyne. The name should ring a bell. While the ladies appear to be dates picked up at a high-end establishment, the men are employees of the company. However, one of the men, named Stan, unlocks a containment chamber, releasing a deadly creature known as the Sinjinore, which basically is short for synthesized genetic organism. The Sinjinore, an artificial lifeform created by Norton Cyberdyne, is an aggressive creature that reproduces asexually on a daily basis. After the gruesome demise of the unsuspecting revelers, the creature escapes the building and proceeds to eliminate Susan's uncle in his garage laboratory. A harrowing chase ensues, with Susan narrowly escaping through a window. The Sinjinore's escape and subsequent reproduction raised concerns within the company's upper management, leading to a tense boardroom meeting and the CEO's increasingly erratic behavior, fueled by mysterious injections. As it must be clear to you by now, the movie doesn't just take tropes from the Alien movies, but outrightly copies stuff from the Terminator franchise. Furthermore, the design of the creature and the color gradient in which the film is shot shout about the inspiration. Alien Cargo, 1999. Two crew members, Chris McNeil and Theta Kaplan, awaken from hypersleep on board the cargo transport ship SSS-17. They find themselves in a dire situation, as they've been awakened almost 10 months past their scheduled time, and the ship is in disarray. Internal systems are damaged, fuel is scarce, and their position is off course. It becomes evident that the previous shift of crew members met a tragic and violent fate, but the cause remains a mystery. With a dwindling power supply and only 9 hours of life support left, McNeil and Kaplan uncover a peculiar substance. As they analyze the substance, tensions rise between them, leading to violent confrontations throughout the ship. Meanwhile, a nearby deep space research ship becomes aware of their predicament and considers a rescue mission. In a desperate turn of events, Kaplan, nearly frozen in the cargo hold, realizes that the strange substance induces psychosis, but becomes inert at low temperatures. With the assistance of the ship's computer, she administers a cure to herself and manages to subdue the still psychotic McNeil. Together, they persuade the research ship's crew to attempt a rescue plan. However, their relief is short-lived as they discover that the cure only provides temporary relief, and they're still infected. It's revealed that the probe originated from Earth and likely picked up the virus in space, inadvertently infecting an unknown alien race. The aliens, perceiving it as an act of retaliation, sent the probe back to its origin. Tropes like hypersleep, a ship that's controlled by a mother-like computer, and alien substances that make one lose their mind. What else does one need to turn a movie into an alien knockoff? Having said that, it does have a decent storyline and seems like an inspiration for another space movie, the 2016 film Passengers, starring Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. Plankton, 1994. In this aquatic movie, 5 teenagers find themselves stranded in the vast ocean during a fierce storm. Seeking refuge, they chance upon a seemingly abandoned yacht adrift in the water. Little do they know that this yacht houses a laboratory dedicated to studying the effects of radioactive plankton on marine life. Unbeknownst to the teenagers, one of the mutated fish specimens managed to break free from its containment, unleashing chaos upon the unsuspecting crew. The creature sets its sights on the young intruders, who become its unsuspecting prey in the confined space of the yacht. With the backdrop of the vast ocean and the tension of their dire circumstances, the movie is essentially cold and unoriginal. Harbinger Down, 2015. In this intriguing sci-fi horror film set in 1982, a Soviet moonlander crashes into the Bering Sea, leading to its discovery years later by biology students Sadie and Ronell, along with their professor, Stephen. While studying the impact of global warming on whales, they stumble upon the sunken and frozen moonlander, containing the bodies of deceased cosmonauts. Unbeknownst to them, these bodies are home to tardigrades, resilient organisms capable of surviving extreme conditions, including cosmic radiation. As Sadie delves deeper into her research on the cosmonaut's body, she makes a realization. The tardigrades have not only survived the radiation, but have also undergone mutations that grant them shape-shifting abilities and the ability to infect other living organisms. The situation takes a tense turn when the cosmonaut's body goes missing, leading to accusations and mistrust among the trio. Soon, they discover the results of the tardigrade's mutation as infected individuals transform into savage creatures with tentacles, wreaking havoc aboard the ship. The ship becomes a battleground for a small-scale alien invasion, and the crew must fight for their lives against these menacing creatures. While the film may have loose screenplay elements and amateur directorial skills, it delivers a thrilling creature feature experience. The practical effects used to depict the alien beasts, featuring razor-sharp teeth and tentacles, are nothing short of impressive, not absolutely terrifying. For alien fans who like creature-centric movies and enthusiasts of practical effects, this film offers a gripping and chilling ride. In Seminoid, 1981. In this British horror film, a group of scientists and archaeologists embark on a mission to study historical remains on an alien planet. As they delve into their work within a cave-like environment, they stumble upon peculiar crystals, setting the stage for a series of unsettling events. Unfortunately, things take an unsettling turn when one of the group members, Sandy, becomes the victim of an alien abduction and assault. The alien impregnates her with its eggs, leading to a disturbing pregnancy that triggers a descent into psychosis and insatiable hunger. Sandy's cravings drive her to embark on a rampage, mutilating her colleagues and consuming their body parts, plunging the film into the realm of slasher horror. The alien, apparently using Sandy's body as a vessel for its own species, showcases its bizarre and grotesque anatomy. With its bulging eyes and a transparent, pipe-like appendage that serves as its reproductive organ, the alien's semen is portrayed as a greenish liquid containing dark-colored eggs. Sandy's transformation into a cannibalistic creature intensifies, and she eventually gives birth to grotesque alien twins who share her appetite for human flesh and blood. Director Norman J. Warren hurriedly crafted the entire script for the film in just 4 days, resulting in dialogue that may leave the audience unsettled more than Sandy's gruesome acts or the presence of the alien itself. Nonetheless, the film offers a certain level of entertainment through its illogical action sequences and gratuitous nudity. It's clear that this production drew inspiration from Ridley Scott's iconic 1979 film Alien, particularly in its depiction of alien insemination. The Dark Side of the Moon, 1990. A maintenance vehicle carrying a crew tasked with repairing nuclear-armed satellites encounters a perplexing and unexplained power failure. Stranded in orbit around Earth, they find themselves slowly drifting toward the dark side of the moon, facing an uncertain fate. Adding to the intrigue, an aging NASA shuttle named Discovery emerges, despite NASA having been inactive for 3 decades. 2 crew members venture onto the shuttle in hopes of salvaging crucial parts for their damaged ship, only to discover a lifeless body on board. To their astonishment, their ship's records indicate that the very same shuttle had vanished within the enigmatic Bermuda Triangle on Earth many years ago. Soon, the crew discovers an insidious force that's been lying in wait within the confines of the NASA shuttle, utilizing the lifeless body as its vessel. This otherworldly entity begins to stalk and terrorize terrorize the crew members one by one, unleashing an unfathomable evil. It becomes increasingly evident that they're facing a sinister manifestation of none other than the devil itself. Despite its lower budget, the film can be compared to genre classics like The Thing and Alien, clocking in at a runtime of 91 minutes. The Dark Side of the Moon showcases occasional moments of gore, although it doesn't heavily rely on them. Instead, the true horror lies in the film's ability to create a sense of claustrophobia and paranoia, leaving the audience in suspense about the true nature of the threat faced by the crew, which, to me, is a plus point. Scared to Death, 1980. In this creature feature set in Los Angeles, a deadly bioengineered monster known as a Sinjinore terrorizes the city. Seeking human spinal fluid, this genetically synthesized organism takes refuge in the city's sewer system and emerges at night to claim its victims. Ted Londigan, a former detective turned private investigator, is reluctantly drawn into the case when his younger partner seeks his help. Despite doubts from both the police force and the public, Londigan takes on the task of stopping the creature's killing spree. The enormity of the monster's strength, such as effortlessly tearing car doors off, astounds everyone. However, it's a personal turning point for Londigan when his love interest, Jennifer, becomes a target of the creature's vicious attacks. As Jennifer lies in the hospital, Sherry, a young woman connected to the case, comes forward with crucial information. According to Sherry, the missing spinal fluid from Jennifer indicates the involvement of a Sinjinore, a creature being developed in the laboratory where she worked. Londigan and Sherry venture into the sewers to confront the creature and discover its lair, filled with its unfortunate victims whose spinal fluid has been harvested. As you may have realized, this film is the prequel to the 1990 film Sinjinore and tells the origin story of the monsters. Creature, 1985. In this sci-fi thriller, two geological researchers stumble upon an ancient alien laboratory on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Unfortunately, their discovery unleashes a deadly alien creature living inside an egg, and it annihilates them. 2 months later, a spaceship carrying a new crew crashes into the Concorde space station near the moon, leaving the pilot dead in his seat. NTI, the multinational corporation responsible for the researchers, swiftly dispatches a rescue mission called the Shenandoah. Led by Captain Mike Davison, the crew heads to Titan. During their orbit, they intercept a distress call from a ship belonging to their rival, Richter Dynamics, a West German corporation. As they land on Titan, Shenandoah plunges into an underground cavern, rendering the ship inoperable. Cut off from communication, a search party ventures out to establish contact with the stranded Germans. They discover the same egg-like container from the alien lab and the lifeless bodies of the Richter Dynamics crew. As bodies start to pile up, it's soon revealed that the creature can control its victims even after death through parasitic organisms. Well, the modus operandi of the alien is clearly a nod to xenomorphs, who begin their reproductive cycle by emerging from an egg. Although the xenomorphs use their host to gestate, the creature from this movie uses the victims as minions. However, the setting of the film and its claustrophobic atmosphere is reminiscent of Scott's Alien. Critters 4, 1992. Alien bounty hunter Charlie McFadden finds himself faced with a moral dilemma. Tasked with destroying 2 remaining critter eggs, he learns that these eggs represent the last surviving critters and mustn't be wiped out due to intergalactic laws. He complies with the directive, sealing the eggs in a preservation capsule. As Charlie places the eggs within the pod, he unwittingly becomes trapped and is jettisoned into space. Fast forward over half a century to the year 2045, when the salvage ship RSS Tesla and its crew stumble upon the capsule adrift in deep space. Under the command of the dubious and lascivious Captain Rick Buttram, the ship is manned by a diverse team. While the Critters franchise has its own unique appeal, there are a few similarities it shares with the Alien movies. Both feature extraterrestrial creatures as the central antagonists, posing a deadly threat to the human characters. In both cases, the creatures are highly dangerous and display aggressive and predatory behavior. Additionally, both franchises explore the theme of survival in hostile environments. The sense of claustrophobia and suspense is also prevalent. Furthermore, the involvement of a corporate or governmental entity adds another layer of complexity to the stories. But make no mistake, Critters and the Alien movies are as far apart as Xenomorphs and Yaojas. Night Flyers, 1987. Night Flyers, based on George R.R. Martin's novella, takes viewers on a strange journey into space. A group of scientists and telepaths boards the Night Flyer, captained by a reclusive figure. Soon they face a series of chilling events, from ship malfunctions to a malevolent force stalking them. As the telepaths encounter horrifying visions and the crew battles for survival, the film delves into their inner fears and demons. The film's unique and eccentric spaceship interior design amplifies its trippy atmosphere, while the gore reaches intense levels during the chaotic moments. Michael DeBar delivers an impressive performance as the psychic character descends into madness. The overall science fiction concept remains solid throughout. The cast, although not Oscar-worthy, delivers decent performances, understanding the nature of the film they're part of. Catherine Mary Stewart's voiceover has a captivating private eye vibe, while Michael Praed's hologram character, channeling David Bowie's Major Tom, brings a quirky dynamic to the crew. Night Flyers fearlessly explores unconventional and outlandish ideas, even if its execution falters at times. Despite its flaws, the film offers an enjoyable and surreal space adventure, appealing to fans of both science fiction and horror genres. Alien from the Deep. Alien from the Deep, directed by Antonio Margheriti, was also called Alien from the Abyss, and it doesn't take a Sherlock to decipher that this movie is a rip-off of both Alien and The Abyss. The plot revolves around Jane, an environmentalist, and her cameraman, who uncover E-Chem's nefarious activities on a tropical island. Instead of decontaminating radioactive waste, the company dumps it into an active volcano. Pursued by mercenaries, Jane finds an unlikely ally in a mysterious snake venom farmer. Together, they bear witness to the emergence of an alien creature from a nearby lake, drawn to the nuclear waste and wreaking havoc at the plant. Alien from the Deep fails to escape the trappings of Italian B-movies. The film suffers from bad acting, notably the performance of the unnamed missionary character. The dubbing and dialogue often result in unintentionally amusing moments, such as the missionary announcing, "Now we will have some singing," to his native congregation. The script feels outdated, combining 1950s atomic energy threats with 1970s ecological concerns, while the alien creature, reminiscent of H.R. Giger's work, remains hidden until the final moments, appearing only as a giant claw. While Margheriti manages to maintain a passable level of interest during the jungle chase sequences, Alien from the Deep ultimately falls short in capturing viewers' attention. You can watch it to find out how silly it is. Within the Rock, 1996. A group of skilled astronauts led by Dr. Shaw embarks on a daring mission to divert the trajectory of the colossal Son of Galileo asteroid. Equipped with advanced technology that replicates Earth's atmosphere and gravity, they land on the asteroid and begin their excavation. You see, we're talking about terraforming, much like the Alien movies. Amidst their exploration, an astonishing discovery awaits them. A fossilized humanoid alien adorned with a massive platinum plate. Once again, this is a nod to the engineer. This remarkable find captivates the crew, especially Ryan, the head of drilling operations, who envisions enormous riches. However, their excitement turns to terror when the alien unexpectedly awakens, wreaking havoc and claiming the lives of the crew members. Panic ensues, but the survivors rally together, determined to eliminate the otherworldly threat. Despite their most powerful explosives proving futile, they discover an unconventional solution, a combination of humble fire extinguishers and their trusty drilling equipment. Within the Rock joins the ranks of numerous low-budget films that draw inspiration from the Alien franchise. However, this particular entry stands slightly above some of its counterparts, boasting a rather likable cast. Making his debut as a writer-director, Gary J. Tunnicliffe demonstrates a commendable focus on both character development and creature design, incorporating intriguing details along the way. Nevertheless, the overall narrative trajectory falls victim to predictability, lacking the element of surprise. The action and horror sequences, while competent, fail to leave a lasting impact, feeling somewhat obligatory. Creeazoids, 1987. From the production line of Charles Band's B-movie Factory, this sci-fi horror offering emerges as a predictable and uninspired addition to the genre. Set against the backdrop of a nuclear and biological war, the story follows a rogue military team, led by the ubiquitous Linnea Quigley, seeking refuge from the relentless acid rain in an apparently abandoned research facility. However, they soon discover that the building is anything but vacant, teeming with greasy, oversized rats and a ludicrously dripping man-in-a-rubber suit monster. The rubbery antagonist bears a striking resemblance to one of Alien's countless progeny, and the similarities continue as a group of brave soldiers maneuver through the air vents in an attempt to flush out the ferocious creature. Exploitation director David de Coteau attempts to inject some novelty by assembling a hodgepodge of science fiction and horror cliches, even including a killer baby reminiscent of the iconic "It's Alive" infant. Yet, despite the copious amounts of blood, slime, and alien saliva that saturate the screen, the excessive goo fails to mask the underlying absence of substance. In summary, this film dutifully ticks off familiar tropes and drenches them in viscera, but ultimately offers little of value beneath the surface. Carnosaur 2, 1995. In the sequel to the horror flick Carnosaur, the prehistoric predators return with a voracious appetite. McQuaid and troubleshooter Reed lead a rescue team on a mission to a secretive underground military facility nestled deep within the Nevada desert. Their arrival reveals a grim scene. Every staff member is dead, except for a bewildered teenager named Jesse who roams aimlessly. As the investigation unfolds, McQuaid and Reed stumble upon two chilling revelations. Firstly, the facility harbors a dangerous stockpile of high-grade plutonium, plagued by faulty containment, gradually seeping lethal radiation into the surroundings. Secondly, the Army had stored a cache of dinosaur eggs discovered during an excavation, and the radiation triggers their hatching, unleashing a pack of ravenous velociraptors on the area. Alongside Don Stroud, Rick Dean, and Arabella Holzbog, Carnosaur 2 delivers an adrenaline-fueled ride through perilous encounters with prehistoric terrors. In a swift 3-week burst of creativity, Palmer crafted the initial draft of the script for Carnosaur 2, followed by 2 subsequent rewrites. Drawing inspiration from its predecessor, the film climaxes with a thrilling showdown between a formidable T-Rex and a formidable forklift, paying homage to the finale of the original Carnosaur. While classified primarily as a horror film, Palmer infused the sequel with an action-packed sensibility, blurring their genre lines. Notably, some reviewers perceive the film as a hybrid of horror and action. Drawing parallels to James Cameron's 1986 film Aliens, the sequel's narrative shares striking resemblances with its sci-fi predecessor. Biohazard, 1985. Led by General Randolph, a group of government officials is lured to a secluded laboratory to witness a demonstration of psychic materialization, promising result of an experimental drug. However, the cautious project scientists had warned about the incomplete testing and safety risks associated with the procedure. In a tragic turn of events during the demonstration, a ferocious creature is inadvertently unleashed. Incapable of containment, the creature wreaks havoc and devastation upon humanity. To make matters worse, it rapidly reproduces, leaving mankind in a perilous state. As conventional weapons prove futile against this formidable foe, scientists are left grappling with the urgent question of mankind's survival. Ray understands the desires of the audience and tries to ramp up the tension. The film delves into dimensional explorations, setting the stage for an alien onslaught, although it's orchestrated by a small, drooling creature. Size poses no obstacle for Biohazard as it invades ordinary households, seeking refuge and leaving a trail of gruesome human fatalities in its wake. But no matter what, it's a petty alien knockoff with little substance. The Neptune Factor, 1973. Marine scientists led by Dr. Andrews face an unexpected turn of events when an underwater earthquake disrupts their plans to leave their ocean lab. In a race against time, experimental subcaptain Adrian Blake, along with Chief Diver Mac and Dr. Leah Jansen, embark on a daring mission to survey the damage and rescue the stranded oceanauts. Descending into an unexplored deep ocean trench, they encounter an ecosystem filled with remarkably oversized fish. Battling treacherous creatures and perilous conditions, they discover the partially intact lab, where surviving scientists fend off giant, ravenous eels. In a heroic sacrifice, diver Moulton selflessly distracts the eels, allowing the others to be saved. The film came before Ridley Scott's Alien, and it seems that it may have had some effect on Alien than the other way round. Dead Space, 1991. In a remote research facility on the planet Fablos, a virus of monstrous consequences is accidentally unleashed, transforming its victims into terrifying creatures. An urgent distress call reaches Commander Steve Krieger and his trusty robot companion Tin Pan, prompting them to embark on a perilous mission to Fablos. However, their spacecraft comes under attack, sustaining damage en route. Upon reaching Fablos, the scientists at the lab assure Krieger that the virus is contained, but secrets lurk beneath their claims. As Krieger repairs his ship, the truth unfolds. The virus escapes and infects a lab worker, leading to a battle against a horde of alien monsters. Armed with seemingly ineffective weapons, Krieger and Tin Pan face a daunting challenge. However, a resourceful lab worker devises a potent bioweapon that holds the key to stopping the relentless creatures. The movie falls short within the man versus monster genre, exhibiting notable influences from Alien and Star Wars while also containing several plot holes. The technical aspects of the monster effect are decent, although the creature's appearance leans more toward that of a mutant dinosaur than a mutated human. As a typical Roger Corman production, the film gains recognition for featuring Bryan Cranston in one of his early roles. Hybrid, 1997 video. Hybrid, a sci-fi horror film, is often considered a great bad movie by enthusiasts of the genre. The plot revolves around a group of army individuals wandering through a post-apocalyptic wasteland and seeking shelter in a secret science facility. However, they soon discover that the facility is home to a genetic experiment gone wrong, unleashing a killer monster. While the film follows a predictable and formulaic storyline, it does feature memorable moments, such as characters engaging in questionable behavior despite the presence of the deadly creature. Some viewers appreciate the film for its campy one-liners and eccentricities, while others find it lacking in originality, Notably, Hybrid's casting choices raise eyebrows, with the inclusion of an adult film actress in a brief action scene and regular actresses involved in nudity. Overall, the film's serious issues and low-budget production values may deter some viewers, but it does possess intriguingly cheap opening credits. Dark Universe, 1993. In Dark Universe, the space shuttle Nautilus encounters a mysterious cloud filled with alien spores, infecting the lone astronaut Steve Thomas. Steve undergoes a horrifying transformation into a violent alien creature. The shuttle crashes in the Florida swamplands, posing a threat to the local residents as Steve's rampage continues, and the potential for spore infection looms. While Dark Universe has its flaws, it offers appeal to fans of creature features. The film may be perceived as an alien clone based on its box art, but aside from the creature design, it diverges from that premise. The alien creature, although not as elaborate as others, meets the standards of a B-movie monster. It delivers some satisfying havoc, although the desire for more extensive destruction remains unfulfilled, likely due to budget constraints. Moments of action and the occasional display of nudity enhance the experience for dedicated fans of low-budget cinema. However, Dark Universe suffers from stretches of dullness and would have benefited from an increased presence of gore and explicit content. Nevertheless, for hardcore B-movie enthusiasts or those intrigued by comical special effects, this film is worth a rental. The Rig, 2010. In The Rig, a skilled crew on an oil drilling rig faces the terrifying presence of a deadly creature amidst a raging hurricane. Isolated and cut off from communication, they must confront an unrelenting force of death that picks them off one by one. The film draws inspiration from the familiar premise of Alien, albeit on an oil rig setting, delivering a level of threat that prompts the characters to react accordingly. However, the creature itself lacks originality and fails to generate much excitement. The visual presentation of the movie is decent, with the unique setting of a converted oil rig museum adding some visual interest, although occasional hints reveal its non-functional nature. While the film offers some entertainment value, the early character development ultimately proves inconsequential in relation to the monster. As a horror movie, it falls short of providing genuine scares and thrills. Managing expectations is key to avoiding disappointment. Deadly Instincts, 1997. In this low-budget horror flick, a meteorite crash lands, bringing an alien creature that must mate with humans to ensure its species' survival. Fortuitously, the crash occurs near an all-girls school, where the alien takes up residence beneath the premises. While the film's plot is highly absurd, the performances, dialogue and accents of the largely English cast, attempting a Boston setting, fall short. However, the movie's unintentional entertainment value emerges from its sheer badness. Notably, model Kadamba Simmons portrays Space Girl, a mysterious character who adds some intrigue to the otherwise lackluster cast. Tragically, Simmons met a tragic end at the hands of her ex-boyfriend shortly after her involvement in this film. The film's unlikely heroes consist of a teacher and his student lover, who inexplicably captivate every woman in the school. Their storyline includes unnecessary scenes, gratuitous nudity, and sporadic glimpses of the underwhelming alien creature, which fails to match its appearance on the movie's cover. The narrative lacks coherence and logical progression, culminating in an ending that mirrors the disjointed and strangely entertaining nature of the entire film. It's worth mentioning that Deadly Instincts is a remake of the 1986 movie Breeders, and its original worldwide title was Breeders. The German television release renamed it Deadly Instincts. Prometheus Trap, 2012. In the science fiction film Prometheus Trap, directed by Andrew Belware, a military vessel called Venom diverts from its original mission to investigate the abandoned ship, the Prometheus. On board the Prometheus, the crew members, led by Captain Gloria Haskin, awaken from cryosleep and discover the presence of a powerful weapon known as the Hercules Mark 6. However, they soon realize that one of their own is a saboteur. Complicating matters further, the ship becomes trapped in a time loop, repeating the same events repeatedly. Prometheus Trap, released shortly after Ridley Scott's Prometheus, appears to have capitalized on the similar title and premise to create a mockbuster. The film cleverly incorporates elements of the Greek myth of Prometheus, weaving it into the allegory of the time loop. While Prometheus Trap introduces the intriguing concept of a time loop, it unfortunately fails to explore its potential fully. Rather than offering fresh twists and exploring alternate possibilities, the film primarily consists of repetitive scenes where characters repeat dialogue from different perspectives. There are occasional attempts to introduce traitors within the crew and prevent certain events, but these elements lack the necessary depth and substance. Lords of the Deep, 1989. In this near-future underwater thriller, set on an Earth suffering from ozone layer depletion, an undersea laboratory becomes the stage for a series of terrifying events. Biologist Claire, engrossed in her research on an unidentified specimen, starts experiencing psychic visions. Meanwhile, a routine crew replacement mission goes awry when an undersea earthquake interrupts communication with the mini-submarine. As a search sub is dispatched to investigate, a crew member conducting repairs outside the lab falls victim to an unknown assailant and is transformed into a gelatinous mass. Commander Dobler wants to quarantine the strange mass, but Claire and the medical officer Barbara defy his orders and move it into the lab for examination. They make a startling discovery. The mass shares the same composition as Claire's research subject and is undergoing a grotesque transformation into a human-sized, stingray-like creature. Chaos ensues as the creature breaks free from its containment and roams the station, while the crew frantically tries to track it down. Claire's psychic visions intensify, drawing her further into the unfolding nightmare. As the quakes persist, another sub sent to salvage the lost vessel falls victim to the malevolent creatures lurking outside. Suspicion mounts within the crew, exacerbated by a suspicious death that is denied an autopsy by the commander. The tension rises as the survivors fight to uncover the truth and confront the monstrous abominations that threaten their lives. The film's plot may sound intriguing and all that, but it's really not a great film. However, 2 Oscar winners worked on it. Future 2-time Academy Award winner Janusz Kaminski served as the director of photography, while Robert Skotak, who won Oscars for Terminator 2 and Aliens, created the underwater visual effects. Blood Predator, 2007. The film is set in the Sierra Mountains, where a group of plane crash survivors finds themselves at the mercy of an otherworldly terror. Stranded in the midst of a snowstorm, the 7 individuals seek solace in an abandoned ranger's cabin, hoping for salvation that seems increasingly unlikely. But their respite quickly transforms into a nightmare when they realize they're not alone in this desolate wilderness. Unbeknownst to them, an extraterrestrial species lurks in the shadows, armed with deadly weapons in the form of barbed wire tongues and razor-sharp teeth. Faced with this threat, the desperate survivors must unite in a battle for their lives, determined to overcome the flesh-eating creatures that stalk their every move and find a way back to civilization. The movie screams aliens and predators right from the beginning till the end, and it offers little less than that. Spaceballs, 1987. In this comedic sci-fi adventure, the satirical genius of Mel Brooks takes center stage. Planet Spaceball, under the bumbling leadership of President Scroob, faces a dire crisis as its fresh air supply dwindles. Scroob hatches a devious plan to steal the precious atmosphere from the neighboring planet of Druidia, governed by King Roland. To accomplish his scheme, Scroob seeks the secret code to Druidia's protective shield, which he aims to extract by coercing King Roland. Princess Vesper, Roland's spirited daughter, flees her impending arranged marriage and sets off on her own escapade. As she evades her pursuers, the Spaceball 1 ship, led by the villainous Dark Helmet and his subordinate Colonel Sanders, is dispatched to capture the princess and her loyal droid, Dot Matrix. In the midst of this intergalactic chaos, King Roland seeks the assistance of Lone Star, a resourceful mercenary, and his trusty companion, Barf. Lone Star agrees to rescue Vesper and Dot, but not without a hefty price to settle his debts with the notorious crime lord Pizza the Hutt. Their journey unfolds aboard the Winnebago spaceship Eagle 5 as they manage to secure Vesper and Dot and narrowly escape Spaceball 1's clutches. However, their getaway takes an unexpected turn when fuel scarcity forces them to crash land on a desolate moon. Well, the film is not a knockoff as much as it's a parody of other classics like Star Wars, Star Trek, Alien, The Wizard of Oz, 2001, A Space Odyssey, and Planet of the Apes. In that capacity, Spaceball does well and is one of the more watchable films on this list. Lily Cat, 1987, anime. In this thrilling sci-fi horror film set in the 23rd century, the crew of the deep space cruiser Saldes embarks on a mission to investigate a newly discovered planet for mining potential. Led by Captain Mike Hamilton, the crew includes a diverse group of employees from the Sincam Corporation and surveyors from different divisions. However, their journey takes a nightmarish turn when mysterious extraterrestrial bacteria infiltrate the ship, leading to a deadly game of survival. As the crew awakens from cryogenic sleep, they discover imposters among them and a series of gruesome deaths caused by the rapidly evolving bacteria. The tension escalates as alliances shift and secrets are revealed. Amidst the chaos, the ship's computer falls under the control of an unknown entity, further jeopardizing their chances of survival. The remaining survivors, including Gyro, Nancy, and Berry, must confront the relentless and shape-shifting bacteria. Betrayals, personal vendettas, and a shocking revelation about a robotic companion named Lily Cat add layers of intrigue to their desperate struggle. Determined to protect themselves and prevent the bacteria from reaching Earth, they make a daring escape to the planet below, while the selfless sacrifice of Captain Hamilton ensures the destruction of the infected ship. The presence of imposters in the setting of the film in the 23rd century are enough to speak about the inspiration behind this 1987 anime. Having said that, I'm not saying it's a bad film. In fact, if you're a fan of Alien or The Thing, you should definitely check this one out. Roots Search, 1986 anime. In a research station orbiting in space, a small ship called the Green Planet unexpectedly arrives, bringing with it the sole survivor, Assistant Captain Buzz, and a seemingly lifeless alien. Ignoring the warnings, the scientists dispose of the alien's body in space. However, they soon find themselves tormented by haunting memories of their past misdeeds, as their deceased friends and loved ones seek revenge. One by one, the scientists meet their demise, leaving only the lady scientist, who develops feelings for Buzz. The alien claims to be a divine agent sent to punish humanity for its sins. In a desperate act, Buzz and the lady scientist destroy the research station, but tragically, they're unable to escape its destruction. While I strongly recommend that you watch Lilycat, my resolve weakens when it comes to root search. The alien entity aboard a contaminated ship seeks to ensnare the protagonist with its tentacles, vowing to kill all humans in the name of God. Yes, the alien can communicate verbally, leading one to question its peculiar form of prophecy, akin to Nicolas Cage. The purpose of this piece of art's anticlimactic ending leaves one pondering its ultimate significance. The Intruder Within, 1981 TV movie. In The Intruder Within, an offshore oil rig accidentally unearths prehistoric alien eggs, leading to a perilous situation as humans become infected with the alien cells. While this TV movie bears a resemblance to Alien, it manages to distinguish itself through its atmospheric presentation. The claustrophobic setting of the oil rig and skillful camera work in the television ratio contributes to a sense of impending doom. Despite its limited budget, the film utilizes practical effects resourcefully, creating a gritty and eerie ambiance. The puppets portraying the small creatures presents a challenge, but the birthing scene cleverly employs shadows to convey the necessary horror. Although the monster suit is unconvincing in appearance, its unsettling soundscape, a strange burping gargle followed by a deep menacing rumble, adds a layer of creepiness. The director employs points of view tracking shots as the creature traverses the deserted hallways, emitting eerie gurgles. The Intruder Within may not be groundbreaking, but it manages to evoke a sense of tension and strangeness that keeps viewers engaged. Star Crystal, 1986. In the futuristic setting of Star Crystal, a crewed expedition to Mars retrieves a mysterious egg that hatches, revealing a slimy alien creature and a crystal. The astronauts conduct experiments on these discoveries but meet their demise when their air supply is cut off. 2 months later, a damaged ship carrying a diverse repair crew, escaping the destruction of Space Station L5 due to a malfunctioning reactor, find themselves in a desperate situation. With limited supplies and unable to return to Earth, they embark on a mission to resupply at nearby stations. However, an alien creature lurking in the engine room begins to kill the crew. In a peculiar turn of events, the creature encounters a Bible and undergoes an unexpected transformation, fostering a friendship with two humans. This abrupt shift from alien-like horror to a more friendly tone, akin to E.T., unfolds as the crew bids farewell to their newfound extraterrestrial ally. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.